and welcome to my channel if you are new, or welcome back if you are back. If you are new, hi, my name is Rabbit and my pronouns are they, them, and if you're back, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so happy you're here again. Okay, so this video is super fun. It is kind of a couple months in the making because I started this hobby, what's the month before August? June? July? One of those, and have just like slowly been creating more and more pieces, and it's been super fun. It's very affordable because I've just been using completely thrifted little like statues and figurines and acrylic paints that are mostly from the dollar store. I think that it would be super suited for the spooky season that we are currently in, so I decided to like get dressed up in one of my favorite handmade shirts. Actually, most of these shirts are handmade. This one is made out of socks, this one is made out of tights, and this is made out of an old pillow, or an old pillowcase sort of situation. Okay, welcome to spooky season, and this video is going to be kind of a DIY tutorial, but also just like a video of my collection of what I've DIY'd so far, kind of similar to my stuffy video, so you can kind of get some inspiration if you are interested. If that is the case, keep on watching this part, and then if you don't care about that and you just want to see like the DIY, I will put timestamps and you can skip to that part, which I won't be offended. Do what thou wilt. So in this video, I want to show you guys how I have been kind of transforming little thrifted ceramic and like clay figurines, mostly of like angels and stuff, into kind of little creepy, scary, horrible little beasts and demons and stuff. Mostly the reason that I started this whole situation is because I've always really liked those little figurines of like sexy goth fairies, or just like pretty goth fairies, but like usually they end up having like stockings and like little skirts and stuff like that. So, but I always thought those were like super pretty, but if you buy them like brand new, especially online, they're like super expensive unless you can find them secondhand, and even secondhand they can be pretty expensive. So I figured I would try to find some fairy statues, and though that still has not happened, I have not found any fairy statues that I like enough to repaint. I have found a bunch of different like mermaids and angels and cats and clowns and things that I can repaint to be more spooky or like kind of fitting my aesthetic, or like a Halloween aesthetic. Let me finally stop blabbering and get into it. So I'll be showing the befores and afters. Okay, so in honor of the fact that it is September and almost Halloween when I'm filming this, let's start with this little music box clown. And this guy, when I got him originally, was pretty cute as well. Cage kind of wanted me to just leave him, but now that I've repainted him, I think we're both happy with it, though I just realized I might need to do an extra layer on the back of him. This is a candy corn clown with kind of a little banjo, which is awesome because Kay just started playing the banjo recently. So this is him. I don't think he's gonna show up very well on camera, so I will just be including a bunch of pictures. He is kind of a little jester clown. He's got mismatched face paint. He's kind of inspired by some of my other like clown dolls that I've made in the past, but since I just haven't been having the time to make dolls recently, I've been finding different things to do, like paint figurines, which takes a lot less time than painting dolls. My favorite part about this guy is that his like little skirt bloomers pants look like a pumpkin, and I painted tiny little jack-o'-lanterns on the pom-poms on his shoes, which I think is super fun. Everything's very like harlequin and mismatched, and I tried to make his base kind of resembling a candy corn as well as his sleeves. So he's all ready for the Halloween cheer, and it's really cool because he's a music box, so his sound is really lovely as well. Let me see if I can get it to work. There it goes. One of my favorite things about it is when it kind of moves kind of jerkily at the end, when it's like stopping. I think it's cool. Since we're on Halloween, let's go with the other Halloween thing that I painted. So this, it was originally like a vase with little angel cherub kind of situations, and I wanted them to be spooky little demons or spooky little clowns or spooky little Halloween something, and I ended up kind of combining it all into these guys. So they're supposed to kind of look like they're on the base of like rotting pumpkins and flowers and stuff, so just all over the Halloween vibes. One of the guys' face paints is a little bit inspired by Jigsaw because I've gotten really into horror movies lately, and Saw is one of my favorite franchises, so figured I had to do a little homage somewhere. I don't like the flavor of candy corns, nor am I really sure if I can eat them or not because I'm vegan, but I love how they look, so I did their little wings inspired by candy corn, and the back is just black and white striped all around. I'm not sure what I will put in this, maybe some dead flowers. I think he's a lot of fun, just kind of like a horrible little rotted pumpkin demon angel cherub situation. The leaves are all different colors, yellow, red, and green, and orange, but the roses are always black. Cage gave me black roses for the first flowers that he gave me. So black roses are always really nostalgic for me, especially because in this corny book series that I'm obsessed with from when I was a kid, there's all these black roses and stuff. It's called Vampire Kisses and I have a whole video on it. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about this, and a lot of fun. Like this guy a lot, even though he's kind of messy looking, but it kind of is supposed to be messy for like the kind of disgusting rotted look. Okay, now let's go on to something completely different. This was one of my favorites. Okay, so I had found these adorable, completely gorgeous vintage cat lady statues. I don't know what period exactly you would call the dresses fashion that they are dressed in, so I'm not gonna bother embarrassing myself by trying to guess. But regardless, they were very gorgeous cats, but they did not look like my cats, which are adorable little tuxies named Lemon and Tuna. Plus they weren't really in the color scheme of like my house, which is very like pastel-y and adorable. But basically I wanted to make them look like my kitties in like fancy outfits that I like the colors of. So this is what they ended up like. Ooh, I love them so much. This one's Tuna. She has yellow eyes and a very symmetrical face. She doesn't have a tail, but she has a very pretty little dress on in this iteration of herself. Oh, I just realized I haven't painted her shoes. Okay, ignore that. Pretend they are painted. She has an adorable parasol and a little hat and a lacy collar and like adorable little paws. And this one's Lemon, who has a much fancier hat. Lemon's always been kind of the queen. And I repainted her dress to be black and white striped instead of white and pink, I think it was originally. Did all the flowers in new colors and just added little cute pink and black details. They remind me of like maybe characters that could be in a Tim Burton film or something, and I'm just so excited to put them out on display. Basically, because I like to keep everything together until I've made a video on it, all of these guys have just been sitting on a corner in my desk, and I'm so excited to finally get to put them up around the house once I've finished filming this. So very exciting stuff. Who's next? Ooh, okay, so for a while I was finding a lot of little ceramic boxes. I don't know if I kept, it doesn't really smell like what I kept in it, which was a little sample strip of perfume called Death and Decay from Lush that smells like funeral flowers and mourning. Anyway, I wanted to make this little kind of wedding box couple into like a lesbian zombie couple. That's what they're supposed to be. So they're just wearing like cute little suit dress situations and are on a super fluffy, almost cake looking box. I just left it plain white on the inside, but I think it's a lot of fun. I really wanted to do like something with zombies, so I feel like these guys are a great addition to the collection. Let's move on to the first one that I did, the one that started it all. Another music box, but she's also a shelf sitter. So Cage and I had gone to this Christian thrift store and I had seen her and I'd been thinking about her, but then I was like no, and then we went back a week later and she was still there and I was like, okay, I must get her and I must try this because I just like was, you know, needing to do it. Also, I broke her just now because I am very clumsy, but it's okay, I can fix it. I just snapped the chain a little bit. But basically, she was originally kind of an angel lady reading probably the Bible with some cherubs around her. And now she is a demon lady with little babies on leashes, and her book is all black and she has red wings and a little cross on her necklace. And I think she looks super cool. I think one of the really easy eye things you can do with like little things like this if you don't want to repaint the eye details like I did on this guy is you can just black out the eyes and do kind of corpse paint makeup. I think that's like a really effective and pretty like spooky looking way to do it. I've also seen people repaint them by just like spray painting the entire thing black and just doing the eyes in like red or something like that. So if you don't want to like bother doing every single detail in a different color, you can just do all black or all silver or all gold, a different colored eyes or something like that. But regardless, I had a lot of fun with this one. She started it all, and she also has a music box underneath. And then I had found another really similar kind of statue to her, and I originally was gonna do it in the same kind of colors because it was another angel lady, but this time with children. They looked a little bit more grown up, and I was like, oh, okay, like just do it, but like her as like with the older children. And then my friend was like, why don't you do it in like opposite colors, like white and stuff? And I thought it would be amazing to do a piece inspired by like banshees because they've been one of my favorite mythical creatures since I learned about them. And so this is Our Lady. She is like all white with like blood-stained clothing and blood-stained hands that are getting like smears all over the paper and stuff. She has red roses in her crown, and her Wings are just like tinged with a little bit of like pinkish red. I just repainted all the base to be black with red roses, and I think she looks really cool. I think they make a really excellent pair. Like seeing them side by side is a lot of fun because they're kind of like sister twins of different but similar aesthetics. I didn't expect it to turn out so cool, and I really didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I think I almost like the white and red version better than like the plain spooky version. So that's pretty cool. Let's mix it up a little bit and go in a different direction. I got to make a mermaid. I've always been really into the idea of like deep sea mermaids and like deep sea fish in general, so that's what she's kind of supposed to be inspired by. She was originally just like plain white, one color, and I wanted to make her kind of like blue and green and have like some fun tattoos. She was just kind of an experiment since I'm not usually into nautical ocean stuff as much as I am into other things, but I tried to give her like long claws and fun swirls, and I just thought she was like such a fun piece originally, and I'm happy to have given her an extra little bit of personality with some paint. Next I have some perfume bottles, actually. So it's fun because I can remove the lady from the base of her, and it smells like roses, but like really gross old roses, which kind of adds to the creepiness factor, I guess, if you suppose that way. Her dress kind of reminds me of, is it Katrina? Her dress in the end of Sleepy Hollow with the black and white stripes, except it's not quite so thick striped. I like her a lot. I originally had her just be like plain before I added the cracks on her face. I tried to make her look kind of like a broken porcelain doll. I don't know how much that worked, but I'm hoping that soon I can do a Monster High custom of like a broken doll. I think it would be super fun. Her flowers are all purple, and it's occurring to me now that it might have been more appropriate to do them pink with like the roses, but it's okay. I think she looks pretty fun. No one's gonna be using the perfume in this anyway, so it doesn't really matter that she was a bottle at one point in her life. The other bottle my friend actually gave to me and thought like, oh, I found it at the thrift store, like you would make a great repaint of it, and I'll actually insert another picture of another thing that I repainted, but I gave it back to them because I was like, hey, do you want any of these? Since they had given them to me, I figured it would only be fair if they kind of had like first pick. So that was this that I will show with like the pink pastel hair. I hadn't thought of doing like pastel hair, but with like the gothy aesthetic on a porcelain repaint, and I just think it looks so cool. So I decided to do that again with this one. Again, she is a perfume bottle. This perfume, even worse than the other one. But originally her dress was just plain black when I had repainted it with spray paint, and I ended up putting silver stars all over it, which I think look pretty beautiful and just add like a little sense of mystery, especially because of like the motion of the dress. Her top is like pretty plain, just with like a couple of different colors and like gradient layers, plus I outlined her bow in purple. My favorite thing though is her eyes. They're like whited out and kind of remind me of like someone who's seeing into the future, like a seer or something. And she has like a couple of pearl necklaces, a little moon carved into her forehead, tiny black bow in her hair, and light lavender hair, which I think is really pretty and just works really well with like the spooky aesthetic to have like dark clothes but light, unnaturally colored hair. Another purple guy. This is a non-human that I made. He was originally kind of a Easter bunny, I guess, and I wanted to make a Halloween bunny who's kind of supposed to be Tim Burton inspired, but I'm worried he ended up looking like the Joker. That is not intentional, so do not mention that. But yeah, I was trying to make him Beetlejuice inspired now that I am thinking of it. Sorry, I painted these so long ago, it's been a hot second. Anyway, I repainted him to be black instead of white. I'm like, don't know if I regret that decision, but I think he looks pretty okay. He has a big purple waistcoat and stripy pants, purple and green shoes, and his basket. I tried to make all the eggs look like toxic and poisoned. I really like his little cane. I think it looks like a lot of fun. And yeah, I put little black polka dots on his neckerchief, plus stripes on his hat. So remember that like even if the original piece doesn't have like stripes or polka dots or something like that, you can always add those little details, hearts, crisscross, plaid, whatever you want with the paint. So you don't have to be tied to what just is originally in the structure. Just a couple more to go. This one's pretty fun, pretty plain. It's just like a little spooky box. I had repainted it to keep perfume samples in because I wanted to feel like a fancy like Victorian queen or like Snow White evil queen sort of situation. It just, I was having a time a really good time just finding little things at the thrift store to repaint. So I just thought that this looked like a fun one to repaint, and it was. So just did it with like black and red and silver. Metallic paint I think just gives such a gorgeous, lovely effect. It almost looks like this is like mirrored, even though it's not, it's just silver paint. And I think that the flowers and the ribbons and everything, it just looks so over the top, tacky, and perfect. I love it. This was a little Christmas angel that I repainted into being a little vampire. Cage thinks it's a vampire baby though, like a vampire child, and I don't. It's just a short girl. Like, shut up. Anyway, she has little like angel wings and like still looks kind of Christmassy, but I hope that with her red eyes and fangs and dark red hair, which, hey, twinsies, I hope that she looks vampire-y enough. She came already with this little like gem in her collar, and I figured with the red I had to make her kind of like a vampire countess vibe because it reminds me of like the gem that like Dracula costumes usually have. Anyway, hell yeah. Okay, you can't really smell it anymore, but I had been keeping my little sample of Death and Decay in here in this little spooky baby angel box. He was originally just a regular angel holding a dove, and now he's like a little bleeding tears angel demon holding a crow, which I think is super fun. I think this was like the second one that I made, and I just had a load of fun with it. Again, oh, I think with this one I didn't repaint the eyes, I just added the blood-soaked tears. So again, like with tiny details like the eyes, if you're worried about it, you can just like leave the original ones and add like a little bit around it, kind of cheat in that way, and it's totally okay. I think it looks really good. It was originally just one color, and I think it's so fun that when you repaint things like this, you can add so much extra dimension and detail just with like a little bit of patience. Most of these took like an hour, couple hours, an afternoon. Put on some spooky movies and you got yourself a very good time, in my opinion. Okay, this one, some stuff fell off my window recently, and one of the victims was one of the wings of this guy. I think he's supposed to be a candle holder. This is one of the ones that I was mentioning, like if you want to do a super simple repaint where you like just literally spray paint it black and then add like a little bit of dimension with like some silver paint in like the eyes and doing some dry brushing over like some of the little details at the bottom. I think that's like still super easy way to DIY some spooky Halloween decorations or spooky year-round decorations out of some thrifted or dollar store materials, because sometimes people tell me that thrift stores aren't that good. Like maybe you have a dollar store that like you could find stuff, but also like these things, a lot of them, they're just like an angel statue. Like you can usually find those at like little churchy thrift stores and then just make it spooky. Same with like, this is just like socks from the dollar store that I just cut up and turned into a shirt. Like you can make spooky cool things out of cheap materials. Fabric paint, regular paint, screen printing, safety pins, acrylic paint, like there's all these materials that you can use to like just make your life so much more fun and colorful and spooky and everything you would dream of. Anyway, I really, really like this piece. It just feels like fun. I don't know if they're supposed to be griffins or what, but I think they'd look pretty freaking cool. Unfortunately, I didn't finish this one because honestly, since I have so many pieces on the go, I just was like, you know what, I'll just film this video while I'm feeling it, and if I make more repaints later, it'll be what it is. So yeah, this one's not quite finished, but it's gonna be tuna. It's already starting to look like tuna. It originally said home is where the cat is. I need to figure a clever thing that I want to write down there, or like some cute little icon. I was thinking maybe just some jack-o'-lanterns or like some bats flying in the moonlight would be pretty cool. Little painting of tuna. Love this. I really like finding things with cats on them because then I can repaint them to look like my cats. And then this, I'll just show you guys because it's kind of fun. Cage got it for me for 15 bucks, so it's a little more expensive than I'd normally spend on a thing to repaint. Normally I try not to spend over $5 on these guys, but Cage got me this kind of like Mary statue, so he's thinking I can do something fun and cool and exciting with it, but I am feeling guilty because anyway, we will see how that goes. Regardless, I had so much fun in this video showing you guys my spooky repaints. I hope maybe it gave you some inspiration for things that you would like to repaint. I also am like eyeing a little Bride of Frankenstein right now that I am going to be repainting soon, which I can't wait. She's gonna look so cool in my house. Anyway, that was that for this portion of the video. Keep on watching if you'd like the tutorial on how to do one of these. I'll just show one because it's like the same thing for all of them. So if you see one, you kind of get the idea for anything. So generally when you get an item like a small ceramic thing from the thrift store, it's gonna want to get all the dust off it. I experimented with a couple different methods of cleaning, and I found that the best one is to just use some dish soap and a clean toothbrush and some warm water, and I think that that's gentle enough for it. You don't really have to put down any kind of base layer, but if you're really worried about chipping, I guess you could do that. I didn't put down any base layers and I found everything stuck okay. You're gonna want to start with your light colors and then go to your dark colors, and generally I find it easier to start with like large portions of single colors. Like, don't do your details first, do like your big flat surfaces first, which is why I'm starting just painting the skin and the dress and stuff like that. Especially when you're doing such large portions of one solid color, you really don't have to worry about being neat, so feel free to use a big paintbrush, be messy, and you're gonna do a couple layers anyway, and we're gonna add dimension later, so don't worry if it looks kind of uneven right now. I'm going over the original details with accent colors. Generally, I think it's helpful to pick a couple of colors before you start. For this one I chose like purples, whites, silvers, reds, and super dark greens, and then just try to stick to that throughout. That way you can get like a more cohesive design. But if you want to just go wild and pick colors as you go, that can also be a super fun way to do it. The other thing that's really nice about acrylics is that they're really easy to paint on top of, so whether you mess up or you change your mind on a color, it's super easy to just use other colors to touch up around it. So I'm just going on every different part of the statue. It's almost like doing a paint by numbers, except for on a three-dimensional surface. The pink book turns black, the rosy skin turns ghostly white, the lavender dress turns dark purple, and with my super tiny paintbrush I'm able to add really, really small details and able to touch up any kind of smudgy things from earlier, especially with the face details. In order to get some dimension, I'm using some super watered down black paint and water to just brush over the entire statue, but especially in the points that I want the most shade. So I'm doing it really deeply in the wings, but also in the creases of the dress and on all the flowers and leaves and on the details of the cherub's clothes around her. You can also super glue little details on, whether that's fake pearls or buttons or, like in this case, chains. I'm just using a toothpick, tweezers, and super glue to attach kind of a little chain collar going from the wrist to the hand of the lady. And I think for this one I might have sprayed a couple of layers of Mr. Super Clear to kind of seal it in after I had painted, but I think that like sealing in after is enough. You don't necessarily have to do a sealing layer of as before. But yeah, basically it's super easy. You just gotta pick a little figurine, pick some colors, and spend an afternoon, you know, playing around with it. I think it's a lot of fun, and even if you don't think you're going to be super skilled at painting, you might surprise yourself, and I would highly recommend giving it a go, because it's just for fun at the end of the day, and you're just, even if you mess up, you're ruining like a $2 thrifted piece at most, so what's the harm, right? Anyway, I hope you guys had a nice time watching, and I hope this gave you some inspo, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!